phone. Can I get a motion for that?
A second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay. We'll start out with, we don't have any approval minutes, so we're gonna move on to informational items. We have the monthly financial report. Hello? Is there a microphone up here? Okay, welcome. In your packet, we have the monthly financial report for November.
Talk loud.
We have the November financial report, so that's through November. Next month, we will have a lot more transactions being posted through December, so the next couple of weeks, we're gonna be focusing on making sure all the transactions are posted so that we can close the system. Our tentative date is in a couple of weeks. I think it was March 15th. So after that date, we have no more accounts payable, no more encumbrances. Everything is done, and after that, it's only journal ledger, journal entry activity. So we should have a pretty good position where we'll be after. I want to point out that we have an updated report from IML. It's on IML.org. So the February Review magazine, they have a pretty extensive review of the intergovernmental revenues or state share revenues if you want to read that. It's very good. And I think that's kind of high level. Next month we'll have a little bit more detailed information for December, since I think those are really the numbers I'm really anxious to see. So if you have any questions in November, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, that's all. Next week, are there any questions? Okay. Heading to notes, financial report.
Hi, everyone. In your packets are the regular reports for Headington Oaks. We have the one payer still paying regularly. We have another conversation with Molina in the next couple of weeks. They did come up a little bit on their counter offer, and our consultant is working with them and also with HFS to see what payments HFS made to Molina to kind of hopefully get us closer to an agreement number. That's kind of what we have for Headington Oaks. Additionally, the Matrix Care software is expiring on February 29th on Thursday, so we've been busy pulling all of the data down from that. So we will no longer have that expense of $60,000 a year, and we'll still have the information we need for any accounts. So that's good news. Question?
Any questions? Okay. Moving on, January 2024 accounts payable review.
Again, those are detailed in your packets. If you have specific questions on any transactions, please let me know. If I don't know it off the top of my head, we can get back to you.
Any questions? Okay, we have one resolution, rollover appropriations to FY 2024 budget. Can I get a motion to put that on the floor? Linda, second. Annie, Caitlin? Okay.
Okay, so every year, county staff brings forth a rollover recommendations to the board. This happens in two ways. One, the purchase order rollovers. So any purchase orders that were encumbered in fiscal 23 that have not been completely paid out for one reason or another, the service or the good has not been received yet. Those, if you'll recall, last year we had to change the processes to the way that we did that because of our new accounting system and how it works. So the board approved the proposal to, once we close on March 15th, we'll have that final number of all of the POs We'll put that in a list, a detailed list, and provide it to the county administrator, who you gave authorization to review and approve, and then we will bring notice to the board at the March committee meetings. I had to think of my dates there. So that you will see what those are. And then the second one is in front of you today with the all of the funds that were budgeted in fiscal 23, appropriated, and that were not encumbered on a purchase order, but that we feel will still be necessary to roll forward to be used in fiscal 24. You'll see a majority of that is from the ARPA fund. About 72% of the revenues are from ARPA, and 45% of the expenses. If you combine ARPA and the roll forward for the capital fund, it's about 73% of the expenses. So we have a lot of capital projects on deck for this year, so we would really like to roll those funds forward to pay for those. And then in your packet, you'll see itemized in the agenda brief, there's descriptions of all of the different items, and the letters correspond to the detail. So you have a good idea of what we're rolling forward. So if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions for Heather? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, great. Is there any public comment? Okay, we do have a couple things in miscellaneous. Heather, you wanna
Sure.
take the lead on this?
Yes, thank you. So I have a handout here. I'll talk to you a little bit about it first, so I'm not walking around kind of talking to myself. So, okay.
I'll walk around.
Can I have this? So about a month or so ago, Sharon had asked me about doing some government finance training for the board. I think it's a great idea, and so we have talked with Sigich, our external auditing firm, and they do this training. And it would be within the authority of the county administrator. It would be that low amount to go ahead and go forward with this. But we thought if it works out well, we can do this on an annual basis. The county board is responsible for a lot of things, and finances is a big part of that. And so just having this training would be helpful to get you a good, solid understanding of government finance, what you're responsible for, best practices. And so there's some initial thoughts on topics on here. The first section, the fund accounting, is what Sigich already has prepared as kind of a standard presentation that they do. And then the other topics are ones that we kind of thought of that would be helpful. So if you have any other areas that maybe you would like more in depth on, just go ahead and reach out to me and put my contact information there for ease of use. And we would break these up into smaller sessions to comply with the Open Meetings Act. So if you have any questions or any feedback on that, please feel free to reach out.
I did want to say that we're going to also offer this for people that are running for office. So the contested races folks are going to be invited as well. So they understand if they're elected, that they can come in and have this training as well and understand. Obviously, this is the most important thing we do over the years. So we just want to make sure everybody understands the budget and all the different funds and everything. So, are there any questions?
Again, how soon are you all looking to start this? How soon?
I'm not sure. We haven't really set a timeline. I would say maybe in the next 2 months.
Cost.
Well, the good thing is he has a bulk of it already prepared. And then there would be expense for his time and travel to come here. But I would say it'd be under $10,000. I would imagine well under $10,000 for training. And then I have a call with him tomorrow to hopefully see if this is something we can bring in-house after it's developed. I don't know.
So a couple thoughts. I would not be opposed to it if a majority of the group would find it beneficial. I don't want to pay $10,000 and have 2 people want to take the class.
Just Sharon and I and me.
No. And then depending on the time frame, I think it would probably be better to cycle the time frames. I'm not opposed to like when Scott does the training onboarding for people running for it, but I don't want to be having classes where it's one board member and somebody that's not even going to be on the board to have it. So it's a good idea of like the training of what we do for oncoming board members, but when we have contested races, if there's 2 people running against somebody, to have that person sitting with that person at it, I think that should be an advantage for the sitting board member to have that. But you could do it where the cycle would be if somebody just got elected, where that person, when they come in, if it's at the beginning of the year, where that new person would have it right away. I just think that would be a better cycle if we had it at the beginning where they're elected. Because I think it's good when Scott tries to do the educational pieces, but it does also create the awkwardness of somebody running against somebody that's sitting around this horseshoe to receive that training for it. So I just think that should be something that we have among electeds. I'm not opposed to any of it. I just curious how many people would be interested in get it to a time frame where if we do have it where somebody's elected, that is initiated into the onboarding training of the board members.
Any thoughts, Linda?
I think this is a great idea, and I can't imagine how you could have more fun with $10,000.
Oh, wow. There's a person that counts every nickel.
Yeah, I count every nickel.
I moved it up from pennies.
I'm definitely interested. I think with anything else that we do though, it's something we should evaluate after we've done it, see what benefit we have and how we want to move forward with it. But I'm definitely interested in seeing what they can bring.
What if we could videotape it, like steal their presentation and NPRs?
Ethics.
Oh, wait,
Oh,
we don't
sorry.
have any.
I don't have any. Boo.
Any other thoughts?
I'm in favor of it. I mean,
Yeah.
been on for many
I think
years.
it's
but
only gonna
we'll have to
benefit
learn.
all of us. Okay, well, if you have, again, Heather, if you have any thoughts about any other subjects you think we should cover in this, let us know and, we'll get that added into the mix, so. Okay. All right, Scott?
Thanks, Madam Chair. So Madam Chair asked to kind of just have you give a couple of remarks about the governor's proposed state fiscal year 25 budget. Still sifting through it, but a couple of highlights that we've already identified and that we're going to be watching. First, the one that's gained the most attention, and that's the repeal of the grocery store tax. We are still doing analysis, but the preliminary analysis shows that it will not impact the Peoria County government very much, if at all. City of Peoria, on the other hand, significant impact. City of Peoria is estimating a $4 million loss in sales tax revenue. And if you think about how your development policies are structured, we drive development to where there is urban infrastructure, public water, public sewer, and the like. As a result, there's no big box grocery stores or even independent grocery authority or IGA type of grocery stores in unincorporated Peoria County. And we have a handful of gas stations and convenience stores, plus whatever, as example, would be for sales a grocery item at the airport, because that's in unincorporated Peoria County. But outside of that, we don't have very many business establishments that actually sell grocery store items. And those that do are very small in volume. So impact for the grocery store tax for us is going to be pretty minimal. I say that though, that in the caveat that we're still doing that analysis, and so that may change, but when it was suspended 2 years ago, we literally saw zero impact to us. So I really expect the same to be true here. We heard in Rob's committee today from Monica about the impact that the reduction in the local health protection grant is going to have on not just our health department, but every health department in the state. So we're looking at that. Two fiscal items that are not part of the recommended budget, but we're keeping an eye on. One is a bill in the Senate that was just introduced. Our contract lobbyist thinks that it has the potential to move. It's still in assignments though, so it really hasn't gone anywhere in the Senate, but Taylor thinks it could move, and that is a bill that would create, or I should say, would require us to have the evictee in eviction court be represented. And that most likely would come in the form of that is a civil proceeding, so it wouldn't be a prosecutor, it wouldn't be a public defender, it'd be something more like a guardian ad litem type of attorney. In our circuit, the court's contract guardian ad litem services, I have not had a chance to talk to the chief judge or Gabe yet because we just learned about it yesterday, but I would be willing to bet that they would take the same approach. We process between 1,500 and 1,800 evictions annually. And if you figure a couple of hours of time for that attorney to represent the evictee in court at what local and private practicing attorneys charge at an hourly rate, that number is going to get really big really fast. Just based on what I have a general knowledge of what hourly rates are in the community against that, say that 1,500 number, we could be talking about $750,000 of added expense. Still looking at the bill language to see if there is an appropriation tied to it, so we may or may not get reimbursed for that. I'd be surprised if we do. Again, still doing analysis. I need to talk to Bob about to get more information about how eviction court works, and Gabe as well, to see what they might propose as a solution, and then rerun those numbers. But I think my logic model is pretty solid. We just need to refine some of those financial impacts to us. And then secondly, a bill has not yet been filed, but we're hearing rumblings that there could be a shell bill filed or filled out that would take IMRF Tier 2 back to Tier 1 or eliminate Tier 2. There definitely is talk about doing that for the state pension systems. As a reminder, IMRF is not a state pension system. It's governed and run by its own separate governing body that has nothing to do with state government. And that's why it's over 85% funded.
Correct.
And our share is 100% funded. Because you make the decision to fully fund our obligations on an annual basis through the levy process. But if you look at our workforce right now, and we have tons of questions that are unanswered at this point. Is it how would it apply to regular versus which is the SLEP version of IMRF? SLEP is for the sheriff's employees, and ECHO. We don't have. Which is elected county officials. We don't have any active employee in ECHO, but we're paying pensions and obligations on those pensions for former elected officials. Looking at our current active workforce, 40% of our workforce are Tier 1 employees, 60% are Tier 2 employees. So if Tier 2 is eliminated and they get rolled back to Tier 1, there will be a significant financial impact, and because it's IMRF, and that's funded entirely by property taxes, it will result in a need to increase that levy. So we're watching that very carefully. But again, no bill's been filed yet on that.
Are there any questions?
Linda has a
but
ton.
Yes, I know.
I know. So doesn't Prairie State Legal Services, I know they have provided eviction representation. Now, maybe it's only senior citizens, or maybe there's some narrow category of this, but I am sure that they provide those services to some people.
So today, I don't know if that's a mandated service or if they're doing it voluntarily. The bill that's actually been filed, and it's Senate Bill 3750, would mandate that become a service of the county.
Oh, that's just awful.
So we obviously we're looking at that. And what's interesting in the way the bill was drafted, if you are the person being evicted, so the evictee, if you meet certain income requirements, you get these services. Here's the problem with that logic, though. If you are in eviction court, you're getting evicted because you don't have any money to pay your rent. So everybody's going to qualify.
Well, yeah, what does that mean if you meet certain?
So it's like,
income?
yeah, I mean, that's how poorly the bill is written from my initial reading. I did not write the bill.
And also, I don't.
Good,
I haven't.
you'll survive another day.
I haven't read the language of the bill, but foreclosure cases almost always have a component of eviction as well. So that 1,500 to 1,800 number is eviction cases that have been filed, but then you've got foreclosure cases that have been filed that if those are also included, your number's doubling and you're way beyond 1,500 to 1,800 cases.
So that's an unanswered question that we have right now. Is it just evictions or is it foreclosures and evictions? We don't unanswered question today.
So Scott, you just brought this up to me today, but I haven't read it either. But I will say it's kind of a long shot to think that something like that is going to happen this year. I'm not worried. I'm just thinking that
I agree.
either it's a huge cost to the state or the counties. It's a huge cost somewhere. I just don't see that happening.
I hope not.
Jennifer, I agree with your assessment, but it is something that our contract lobbyist brought to our attention, so I wanted to share.
But yeah, we'll definitely.
Yeah, that's why we're doing
Mm-hmm.
Any other
We need to
questions?
know ahead of time.
Scott, you did have your first initial, when you were in DC with COSIN. Do you want to give us a little quick update on
Absolutely.
how that went?
So Jennifer and I were able to sit down with Kyle and Rodney from COSIN to build that relationship. We have their engagement letter / contract. It's in Jenny's queue to review. Pretty simple, straightforward, but she's got a ton on her plate, so she'll get to it when she can. I feel like
Okay, that's.
it's not going to stop them from providing services. I'll let
8 hours.
I'll let Jennifer. I apologize. I shouldn't have thrown you under the bus.
I said you gave to me yesterday.
Make a note. Be nice to Jenny.
I'll let Jennifer maybe tack on some comments when I'm done. But I felt the initial conversation was very positive. They had some great insight to share with us. We have not scheduled dates yet, but we will be scheduling dates for them to come out and spend some time with the committee, the full board, the countywide electeds, and the appointed department heads, so that we can start to build that legislative program. We'll once we get through that, but probably on a parallel path, but not at the same time. So a little bit of a distance. We'll also be preparing to send a small group to DC to do a kind of a mini fly-in, to have meetings with the 4 legislators that represent us, 2 in the Senate and 2 in the House, and then. As we start to talk about federal fiscal year 25, which starts on October 1st, and the president is supposed to deliver his budget here in the next week or two, with the exception of a couple of U.S. senators, nobody at the legislative level has opened up their earmark request process yet. So we're sitting and waiting in limbo. We've got an idea of what we're going to ask for, and the COSIN team stands ready to assist us with that process. And we're actually probably at this point, we're 4 to 6 weeks behind schedule for that process, because there's no fiscal year 24 budget right now. There's a deadline of about, and I don't remember the breakdown, but multiple portions of the federal budget. The continuing resolution expires at midnight on the 29th, so that's Thursday night. The rest of them, I think, the rest is either a week and a half or 2 weeks from now. So I don't know if there's going to be another continuing resolution or if they're going to get a deal done. We'll stay glued to your to wherever you get your news. Anything I missed or anything you want to highlight, Jen?
No, so I wasn't on the team that did the interviews and selected the entity. Skimming through what I saw ahead of time, I kind of maybe questioned why you went with that one, but was definitely reassured in the meeting. I thought they did great. There were 3 of them in there, and I don't know how many pages, but they seemed to be taking an abundance of notes over everything we talked about. Definitely were very interested in coming in when Scott was talking about that. Very engaging, but definitely seemed like you went with the right ones.
Sure.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, that's it. We'll move her.